Y aquí, fantástico. Y bienvenidos y bienvenidas. Espero que ustedes estén bien. I hope you guys are well. Espero que estén bien. Estoy muy bien. Ahora, hoy es el 8 de diciembre, 8 de diciembre. Hoy en México, o quizás ayer, empezaron los días feriados de la Virgen de Guadalupe. This starts officially, like yesterday and today, into the official Christmas season in Mexico, because they really start off not with Christmas, but with La Virgen de Guadalupe, as the Virgin of Guadalupe thing, which is, of course, la mamá de Jesucristo, ¿no? Entonces, para ellos es un día muy especial. Because they have a very splendid and very large cathedral. I'm sure many of you who have been down to Ciudad de Mexico have seen the catedral. She is really a patron saint of the area and much loved. So the festival that celebrates Mary La Virgen de Guadalupe is a big kickoff that winds up into the Christmas holidays eventually, even though it is not Christmas. Vale, bueno, vamos a empezar. Vamos a empezar con cosas así como, vamos a escuchar algo, porque tengo una tarea especial para ustedes la semana que viene. This is a short intro to something that is a little homework assignment for next week. Kind of a show and tell, really, but what I do want to show you is not a whole video, but a snippet of a video that is going to, well, it actually is designed to talk about something entirely unrelated, but this is a comment that is very, very pertinent. They're talking about teaching Spanish rather than a real topic. It does say pretérito imperfecto, but it is really designed as a topic. And this gentleman is going to say something, and if you need some help with the translating, I will help you with this. He's going to be talking about important skills, because what they started in the first 3 minutes that we're not playing is, is it more important to just like listen to people talking all the time and learning by hit or miss? Or is it more important to sit and take grammar lessons? And of course, the answer is always it's a mix. But he's got some advice about teaching and an important skill that everybody should have. So this is a skill we're going to practice next week, la semana que viene.
Te voy a hacer un par de preguntitas que me han hecho un par de alumnos de mi academia, ¿vale? Y después te voy a hacer alguna pregunta que estoy seguro va a ser súper productiva para todas las personas que estén escuchando este podcast, ¿vale? La primera pregunta, que la acabo de perder. La primera pregunta me la ha hecho un chico que se llama Volbul de la academia y me pregunta, ¿las reglas de gramática son importantes?
Las reglas de gramática son importantes. Are grammar rules important? Hasta cierto punto, up until a certain point. Okay.
Buena pregunta. Sí. A ver.
And a ver is a muletillo. That is a muletilla. That is a pause word. A ver, let's see. He's thinking about what he's going to answer, so he starts with a ver, let's see.
Algunas veces he oído esa pregunta y
I have heard this question.
Siempre lo pienso como, a ver, tú imagina que
let's see. A ver, look at how much you'll say. A ver, let's see.
Tú sabes hablar, sabes decir muchas cosas, pero
let's suppose that you know how to say lots of things.
No tienes un esquema. Quizá vas a
You don't have a scheme, a scaffolding.
Decir muchas palabras, está muy bien, vas a poder
You're going to say a lot of words, which is good.
Comunicar mucho.
You're going to be able to communicate a lot.
Pero no sé si te van a entender, porque quizá esas palabras no tienen esa conexión entre ellas.
But you don't know if everybody's going to understand you because you haven't got that connection that would be grammar. que sería, esa conexión sería la gramática. The connection, if you know a lot of words, but you want to express somebody, the connection that's going to drag in the words you know, if you know a lot of vocabulary, is going to be the grammar drags in the words that you know to help you communicate.
Entonces, esa conexión sería la gramática. Pero al mismo tiempo, tú imagina que tú sabes cómo conectar muchas cosas, cómo darle una forma, pero no tienes un vocabulario.
Ah, yeah, maybe you know how to do some grammar, but you don't have the vocabulary that you need.
Y no abres la boca, digamos.
Yeah, and you're like scared to even open your mouth.
Entonces es una combinación de las dos cosas. O sea, yo creo que muchas veces necesitamos una estructura para saber qué decir y cómo decirlo.
Sometimes we need a structure to know what to say and how to say it.
Bien, yo siempre digo, mira, un ejemplo, que por ejemplo, es bueno saber cómo se dicen las cosas. Es bueno
It's good to know how you say things.
saber el nombre de las cosas.
It's good to know the name of things. So an identification tag, you can tag on things.
Pero quizá es mejor, es más
But maybe better, pero quizás mejor, but maybe better.
productivo saber describir esa cosa que tú no sabes cómo se dice.
I'm going to break this up. This is going to break up. Pero
Bueno
quizás es
saber el nombre
mejor.
de las cosas, pero quizá es mejor, es más productivo saber describir esa
Es mejor, es más productivo, it's more productive saber describir esa cosa que tú no
cosa que tú no
sabes.
sabes cómo se dice.
To know how to describe the thing that you don't know what its name is. I don't know a vocabulary word, but I know how to describe it.
Porque esa descripción puede servir para muchas cosas.
That description can serve for many things. So what he means, that's a way of saying, can be useful for many things.
En cambio, la palabra solo sirve para eso.
Eso tiene un nombre, ¿no se llama circunloquios?
Oh,
Vale.
circumlocution.
No puede ser,
No me lo creo. Puede ser.
A nivel del examen de LA2 hay un aspecto que son los circunloquios, ¿no? Que es como...
Sí.
Okay, so what they're talking about is when you don't know a word. And a lot of times we run up against not knowing a word. This is something I used to make my upper level students who are going into university eventually to learn to do. Give me a definition of that word that you don't know, the vocabulary word for it. So next week, what I want you to do, you may choose to look up what the actual word is in a dictionary or not. A mí no me importa. Maybe it'll be my job to guess what this thing is. I want you to bring something, something. Don't go looking for some special thing. Look for something you use every day. In your purse, in your pocket, on your kitchen table, countertop, on your desk, lo que sea, whatever it may be. Maybe you know the word for it in Spanish and maybe you don't. Por ejemplo, I want you to bring it into class and I want you to just describe it. I want you to do that circumlocution. Maybe don't tell everybody the vocabulary word for it yet. If you looked it up, if you didn't, it'll be my guessing game to give you the vocabulary word for that thing, which I may or may not know. Quizás, maybe, depends on how odd the object is. Pero, por ejemplo, ¿pueden ver esto? ¿Ustedes pueden ver esto? ¿Lo que es? ¿Sí? Ok. Bueno. Es una botella. Here's what you're going to do next week. Lo que ustedes van a hacer la semana que viene. Grab some common everyday thing that's sitting around your house. It does not need to be anything special. And describe it very briefly for the class. So use the words that you already know and tell us what this thing is, because maybe you don't know the word, or maybe you're going to hold back because you didn't look up the word, the terminology for it, and you're going to give it to everybody, or maybe you're going to throw it back to me. Ok, por ejemplo, ¿sí? ¿Pueden ver? ¿Cómo se dice esta cosa? ¿Cómo se dice? Quizás ustedes no saben. Maybe you don't know. Ok, pero yo puedo describir la cosa con palabras muy fáciles, con palabras muy simples, sencillas, palabras sencillas, simple words, ¿sí? Es un producto, por ejemplo, esto es un producto y está en una botella generalmente y sirve para, it's for, sirve para desinfectar o limpiar las manos, ¿sí? Especialmente ahora estamos muy conscientes en el virus y limpiar muy bien las manos después de ir al supermercado, después de ir a los correos, después de recoger, sí, las cartas en el buzón, mailbox, sí. Y el líquido en esta botella es bueno para limpiar las manos y quitar el virus que quizás esté en las manos. ¿Bien? ¿Entienden? And maybe at the end you want to say es gel desinfectante. Gel desinfectante. Se dice gel desinfectante. If you can't look up what the meaning of the word is, you're going to throw it back to me. Okay, bien? ¿Entienden?
When you were saying something para, seré para.
Sirve para. Ok, bueno, voy a explicar. Sirve para, and I'm going to take that off, Sheriff, so you can see a bigger, sí, es algo más, sí, bien. ¿Sí?
Is that a conjugation of ser?
No. Miren, look in the chat box. Servir para.
Oh, okay.
Servir para. So when I conjugate it, it becomes sirve para and an infinitivo. Oops.
Oh.
Sirve para. Literally, it serves for, but we would probably term it in English. It's useful for, it's used for, you use it for, okay? You don't have to say sirve para. You might say es útil para, it's useful for doing something, but the word that goes after para doesn't get conjugated, right? ¿Sí? Sirve para lavar las manos. Es útil para desinfectar las manos. ¿Sí? Whatever the action is after para stays an infinitive because, right, when we got a verb word after a preposition like para, we need to keep the verb in the infinitive form. Okay.
¿Puede escribir el nombre de la cosa en el chat box?
¿Quieres que
Sí.
yo describa? ¿Sí? Ok,
Sí.
sí. Toda la descripción, do you want the whole description I just
No,
gave?
el nombre. El
Nombre, ok.
yeah.
Vale, sí. Y al fin sí. Esto se llama gel desinfectante. Esto se llama,
Okay.
general thing. Sí, esto se llama el gel desinfectante. ¿Sí?
The hell was throwing me off.
Gel.
No, I get it.
El gel desinfectante, sí, no es infierno, that kind of hell. Gel desinfectante, ¿sí? Es un líquido muy claro. Huele a desinfectante, smells like disinfectant, ¿sí? No huele a perfume, no, huele a, muy bien, sí, desinfectante, sí, pero se usa para limpiar, para lavarse las manos, ¿sí? Y tengo una botella en la cocina. Tengo otra botella, una segunda botella en el carro. Siempre está en el carro, ¿sí? Y después de comprar la comida en Sprouts o comprar la comida en Safeway o Bashas' o donde sea, wherever it may be, ¿sí? Y después de entrar en el carro otra vez, después de comprar, siempre pongo, sí, un poquito, sí, en la palma de la mano y uso el gel desinfectante. Bien, vale, sí. Y entonces huelo a desinfectante. Then I smell like disinfectant. Ok, vale, sí, ¿entienden?
Mhm.
And it should be something simple. So don't try to find some exotic, bizarre thing. Try to find something you use all the time, just in daily life, because that's usually what we have a need to describe. It's not some bizarre, strange thing that you have around the house. It's something that you use every day, and maybe you don't know the word, and maybe you need to describe to somebody because you're searching for that word, but you can kind of say what you use it for. Sí, saben. Bien. Okay. Bien claro? Pretty clear?
Sí.
And we'll open with that. That'll be our little opener for next week, para la semana que viene. Excelente. Ok. A ver, bueno, vamos a comenzar ahora. Vamos a hablar de estas preguntas del video y voy a mostrarles, because I hope you didn't print everything with, you could maybe print that vocabulary page, but the questions that they had in that little quiz are down here. And we may not answer all of them, but here they were at the bottom of this page, right? So if you have it electronically, it's got tiene el micrófono aquí, ¿sí? Las preguntas y el vocabulario sobre el video. It's really important when you're getting used to listening to these videos that you do not try to translate every word. Today, we're going to go through some strategies for how to use these vocabulary pages and also how to use the transcripts that I send to you to help decode, so that you really should not go looking up every single word. You'll be scribbling everything in if you do that. It'd take you 3 hours. Nadie quiere hacer eso. Nobody wants to do that. But what I want to try to show you, especially with the transcripts a little bit, is some ways to try to decode some general words to suss out the meaning, the general meaning. You want to get the gist. So to a greater degree, because these are a bit harder, to a greater degree than what we did with destinos, we're going to do a little walkthrough with the transcript before we do the little fun questions at the bottom. I'm hoping you've got some ideas to share, especialmente, ¿sí? Hablando del esposo, hablando de la esposa, o de un mejor amigo, or, you know, maybe talking about your best friend. No tiene que ser un esposo ni esposa. It doesn't have to be a wife or a husband. Could be a best friend. Could be a brother or sister. Sí, quizás es un hermano, una hermana, la mejor amiga, el mejor amigo, no importa, right? But we're going to talk about vamos a hablar de tres cosas que tenemos en común. So I want you to share some ideas of 3 things you have in common with whoever that person is. ¿Cómo sería un día perfecto? Sí, we're not going to talk about who kissed whom, quién besó a quién. Es un poquito, superficial, no importa. ¿Por qué motivo peleamos a veces? What's our reason for fighting sometimes? Bien. I don't know about you guys, but I cannot come up with an answer to the question of what did we eat on the day that he proposed to me. No recuerdo, no me acuerdo de la comida que comí el día que mi esposo me propuso matrimonio. No. Pero muchas preguntas aquí sí son interesantes. 3 cosas que tenemos en común. ¿Cómo sería un día perfecto? How would a perfect day be? Meaning, what would a perfect day be like? ¿Sí? ¿Por qué peleamos a veces? Why do we fight sometimes? Quizás la primera cita, maybe a first date, that puede ser interesante, ¿sí? La primera cita, first date, sí, eso es importante a veces. ¿Qué palabra es la que más uso? What word does your special person use the most? Here's one of the questions that there are 2 that I really found, well, quizá, no, 3, hay 3 interesantes. Si hay un incendio, ¿qué salvaría? If there's a fire, what would I save? What would your special person save if there were a fire? ¿En qué dirías que somos opuestos? How would you say you're opposite from your special person, friend, or spouse? ¿Sí? ¿A cuál hábito mío te costó más trabajo acostumbrarte? What habit of theirs or what habit of yours it was tough for them to get used to? Eso es interesante. Y, bien, si pudieras elegir algo mío y tirarlo a la basura, ¿qué sería? If you could pick something of your special person and get rid of it forever, what would it be? You know you have something. You know that person has something that you just, why is this around? ¿Por qué? Why is this around? ¿Y por qué? Okay, so those are the big things we're going to talk about. But before we do that, antes, we're going to do a little walkthrough with some things. I want to point out some ways to use the transcript. Pueden ver aquí? Can you see the transcript here?
Sí.
I would suggest you not try to print these out because they are several pages. ¿Sí? Tienen muchísimas páginas. Es un documento muy largo. a la transcripción. No es necesario imprimir todo. It is not necessary to print it all. What I want to show you are some strategies you can use or ways to look at context, ways that words are buried in to maybe guess what the word means from words that are around it. And very importantly, how to drag out the gist of the meaning. Because I'm sure when you listen to this, you didn't understand every single word they said in the video. En el video, no. Sería muy difícil. Para mí es muy fácil. Para ustedes, claro que no es tan difícil, no es tan fácil. We want to especially show how when you get the transcript and you kind of pair that up with listening, you will more easily in the transcript also be able to pick out verbs. And even if you don't know the conjugation of the verb, often, not 100%, but often you'll be able to kind of start to guess what's going on. And the same may happen for some vocabulary, maybe not all, but some. So when you listen to these videos, what you want to have is, first of all, your vocab list and kind of walking through that first. So we're going to look at that real quickly. And then look at the transcript and see how we can like drag some words out. And from the context they're in, maybe tell what verb the word is originally from or how that word is used in context and see if we can figure it out without looking up a gazillion words and writing down a whole new document. Sí, el objetivo no es escribir un documento. Okay, the object is not to write a document, but we maybe want to use some of these tools to get the gist of what they're talking about. Okay. Y hay algunas palabras que son muy comunes. There's some words in this vocab list that are very, very common in conversational Spanish. So we want to point those out. Some you'll just use in this instance. Some will be very common. Como, por ejemplo, pareja, tu pareja, your partner. This often refers, well, pareja is partner, but it may refer to a spouse or boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, or even, well, yeah, usually in that context, usually not a good friend as a pareja. It'll be a romantic relationship or your spousal relationship, pareja. Tu pareja is like saying tu esposo, tu esposa, tu pareja. It looks kind of like pair, and that's what it comes from, pareja. Pero es muy común hablar y decir tu pareja, and that means your partner, romantic partner, relationship partner. Respecto a pasar el rato. Pasar el rato es pass the time. And that is what they use to say hang around with people or spend time with people. Es pasar el rato. Usually that's un rato, pasar un rato, spend some time. Usually it's used with un rato. Un rato just refers to a period of time. Usually it's a short period of time. Pasar un rato, spend some time. You say you spend, sí, dime.
On tu pareja, is that a feminine word? Okay, and there's no parejo.
Sí, no, yeah, no se dice parejo. We don't change that to an o word. It is a noun on its own. And unlike esposo and esposa, which do change gender, yeah, pareja is always pareja. Okay.
Okay.
Kind of like their word for people, gente, is la gente. And la gente means people, and it refers to a plural group, but it's a feminine word. It just is. So pareja, even if you have a male spouse, that is going to be pareja. Y no cambia. It does not change. Es buena pregunta. Vale.
but pareja does not refer to a business partner, right?
Generalmente no. Usually for a business partner, you're going to use a vocabulary word like colega. Por lo general, usually, okay? That is used more in a business context. Bien, ok. Ser esposos no es difícil. Poner música, play music no es difícil. Testigo, witness, are you really going to need that? Maybe not. Suegros, in-laws. Muchas veces hablamos de los suegros, sí. Una palabra muy común, muy útil, very useful, muy útil. The in-laws, los suegros. Quemar a alguien. She kind of used that colloquially and threw that out. Quemar a alguien, no me quemes, is to expose somebody, to, I'm showing everybody what you're like, you know, not literally like take their clothes off, right? Quemar literally means to burn somebody. Quemarse means to burn yourself, like you burn your finger on the oven. And quemar without the se means to burn, like burn papers up. Okay, to literally light something on fire, quemar, singe it. Okay, but quemar a alguien, to burn somebody, means to, I'm going to show everybody what you're like. Okay, expose in that sense, to leave you out there hanging. Yeah, right. Pelear, to fight, okay? Discutir, to have an argument. It looks like discuss, discutir, and it can mean discuss, but generally discussing in an adversarial sort of way. Doesn't always have to be an angry fight, discutir. Malentendido, misunderstanding. Malinterpretar, what a long word, pero sí saben, malinterpretar. Es fácil entender, ¿no? Interpretar es un cognado. Malinterpretar es badly, to interpret something badly. Malinterpretar, ¿sí? A pesar de que, although, falta de compatibilidad, lack of compatibility, you may not need that quite so much. Violencia es obvio. Arrepentimiento, regret. Razonable, reasonably. Si contestar, to answer a person. Arreglar, to fix. Acordarse, ponerle matrimonio, well, proposed marriage, but that was just in the context of talking about a dating, right? Acordarse de and recordar both mean to remember. Me acuerdo de, we need that word de. Me acuerdo de. Acordarse de is a reflexive verb. Me acuerdo del día cuando conocí a mi esposo. I remember the day when I met my husband. Me acuerdo del día. I remember the day. I could also say, recuerdo el día. I remember the day. But recuerdo does not require a reflexive pronoun. Me acuerdo de needs me acuerdo and de. Recuerdo just needs recuerdo, right? Recuerdo, alguien, remember somebody, okay? Platillo sorbete, do you need sorbet? Probably not. They were just explaining this because they were words they were using. Notice that that word pie is sometimes borrowed in Mexican Spanish. El pie. Pie, they are making pie, P-I-E, in English phonetic. That happens sometimes with certain words that bleed over from the border. In South America, you're going to hear pastel more than pie. But, you know, depende. It kind of depends on the country you're in. Okay. No se me ocurre nada. I can't think of anything. Nothing occurs to me. Nothing hits me mentally at this point. No se me ocurre nada. Can't really think of anything at this time, right? A cita is a plain old date, like romantic date. It could also be a date with your dentist, which isn't very romantic. But a cita is a date, right? An appointed time to meet up with somebody. Saco looks like sack, but it is a term used a lot in Mexico to talk about a men's suit coat, jacket. Saco, when they say jacket formal, what they're saying is like a sport coat or a suit coat that a man would use is called el saco. A blazer. Un blazer in inglés es un saco. And I know it looks like sack, pero no es sack. ¿Sí? Un saco es una chaqueta de hombre, generalmente. Generally has a lapel. Es un saco. That is the definition of un saco. Bien. Esto, interesante. Reprobar. Reprobar is to flunk, to fail. Reprobar is to fail, flunk. Apodo, un apodo is a nickname. Incendio is fire. Oh, that's useful where we live because that happens. Estar a salvo, to be safe. Estar a salvo, those three words roll together to say that somebody or something is safe. See? Impaciente, impuntual. We can guess at what a lot of these words are. Some of these words are very much, they come from a kind of highfalutin Latin word that we use in English, right? Although notice this word rude, rudo, no es rude, rudo. Rudo is used to mean tough, difficult, thorny, problematic, rudo. It will not mean somebody is acting in a rude way, rudo. Rudo is tough as in tricky to difficult to handle, touchy, touchy. Un tema rudo. A touchy topic, un tema rudo. Okay, bien. A ver. No hay mucho. Cartera, wallet. Sí, es fácil. Here's a really slang term. Que oso. What a bear. Que oso en México indica, ay, tengo vergüenza. That's really embarrassing. What a bear. Well, when we say what that is a bear, sometimes if we use that idea in English, it means something is difficult, doesn't it? Yeah. That was a bear of a problem. But it doesn't mean it in that way, but it's getting kind of close, it's saying embarrassing. And then she had the fun part of this question, tirar algo a la basura, throwing something in the trash, right? Limpieza, pido el perdón, and then we get down to the questions. So once you kind of suss through these, bien, some of these are just things you might need for one or another. Let's take a quick look at some of the actual transcription and some words you may be able to figure out from context, or verbs where you might say, shoot, I don't know what this verb is. I know it must be a verb, but what I'm going to drive at is look for the infinitive that it's probably originally comes from, even if you don't know the word exactly. Okay. Vamos a divertirnos. Juguemos un juego. Let's play a game. No es nada difícil, ¿sí? En lugar de hablar de las relaciones, se dice novio, se dice amor, se dice no sé qué. Decidimos hacer este episodio de forma un poquito más interactiva. Okay, so they're just talking about what they're going to talk about. Por lo general es que esas preguntas puedes aprender mucho vocabulario relacionado a relaciones. Relaciones es
Relationships?
relationships. Yeah, it's close enough to the English. See? Okay. No, no, and they're asking, yeah, right? No, de amigos, about friends. De pareja, about your partner, meaning your romantic partner. Las experiencias que vives con otras personas. Experiences that you live through with other people. With another person, con otra persona. And notice, another person is otra persona. Nunca se dice una otra persona, solo otra persona, otra persona. Ok, no es tan difícil.
¿Podrías usar algunas de estas preguntas?
Perdón.
¿Podrías usar algunas de estas preguntas?
Ok, momentito. Didn't mean to turn that on. Now, however, let's look at this.
Para algunas de estas preguntas.
If when I click, it's turning everything on. Momentito. There we go. Aquí. Now let's take a look at a word chunk. And when that podrías usar, es un problema. That's a little problem. So let's take a look at some samples of how would we figure out qué indica podrías usar. You know the usar part. ¿Sí? Pero podrías.
Poder.
It's from poder. This is from poder. And you know poder means?
Be able to.
To be able to, or can. Okay? So just go for, it's talking about can use. ¿Sí? Tú tienes una pareja que habla español o amigos que hablan español. Podrías usar algunas de esas preguntas. You can use some of these words. Now, you say to yourself, well, why don't they say puedes usar? Shouldn't it be puedes usar? Entiendo, puedes usar. I understand, puedes usar. Podrías just changes it from puedes usar, you can use, to podrías, you could theoretically use, hypothetically, you could, meaning if it were true. So just go for that. I know it comes from poder, so you know they're talking about you can ask. That's close enough. Close enough. You really want to go down that rabbit hole of looking up that conjugation, go have fun with that. I'm not going to discourage you from doing that because, maybe you're close enough. You say, I really do want to know. That means you would be able to use. But it's talking about in a theoretical sense. That tense is a tense that talks about theoretically. Okay. Okay. Una posibilidad. Bueno, a ver. Let's maybe get a few other examples. Let's take a look at this. Ya sea que tienes una intención romántica con la otra persona, ya sea, it may very well be. Yeah, again, that's kind of talking about things in a hypothetical situation. It may very well be that you have a romantic intention with the other person, or that simply you're going to be friends. Siempre este tipo de frases sí, van a ser súper útiles. These kind of questions are going to be very, very useful. Okay. And then she brings up this first kind of problematic use of quemar a alguien, algunas. Creo que nos vamos a quemar algunas de ellas. We're going to expose some of these funny questions, expose some of these foibles of human nature. Okay. Okay. Yo te expliqué
que quemarse significa como exponer a alguien.
And she defined what it meant because she knows that most people know quemar as burn. Yo te expliqué, and they left off and there's a spelling error there. Yo te expliqué que quemarse significa como exponer a alguien, how to expose somebody, how to, like take the cover off, show them for what they really are. That's what that expression means. Okay. Bien. Y va a preguntar. Okay. Anything else in that first part? You just wanted the big gist of ideas. So they're setting out in these first 2 minutes. Here's what we're going to try to do. We're going to ask questions that really, rip off the cover that, what we all hide behind. Yeah. What we all hide behind. Expose us for who we really are with these little questions. Menciona 3 cosas que tú piensas que tú y yo tenemos en común. Mention 3 things that you and I have in common. 3 cosas. Si estoy hablando de yo misma, I myself, de yo misma y mi esposo, lo que tenemos en común es, nos gusta mucho, nos encanta, nos fascina la naturaleza, nos gusta montar en bicicleta y quizás nos importa muchísimo la familia y los hijos. Bien, nada más. 3 cosas, 3 things. ¿Hay 3 cosas que ustedes tienen en común? ¿Con el esposo o con la esposa? Karen.
Nos gusta viajar. Nos gusta Tai Chi.
Tai Chi.
Y juego de palabras.
Como Scrabble y...
No, como silly puns,
como bromas, chistes.
Sí.
Entiendo. Bien. Excelente. Okay. 3 cosas que tienen en común. 3 things you've got in common.
Okay.
Jan, ¿tienes algo?
Sí, mi esposo y yo tenemos en común el amor de viajar, el amor del desierto y el sentido del humor.
Un sentido de humor. Un sentido de humor. Sense of humor. ¿Sí? Entiendo. Bueno, alguien más. 3 cosas que tienen en común. Federico.
3 cosas que tenemos en común son nos gustamos los animales y las plantas y los sonidos, sounds de desierto.
Los sonidos, the sounds del desierto. Now, if you want to say we like, we're not going to say gustamos.
Okay.
Because gustamos means we're pleasing to somebody, which we may very well be. But...
got it. Right.
Okay. So you want to say things in animales, right? But you want to say we like. ¿Cómo se expresa we like?
Encantar.
Yeah, encantar.
Encantar es una posibilidad.
Nos gustan.
Nos gusta.
Nos gustan si es plural.
Sí.
Si hablan de animales, if you're talking about animals, si hablan de plantas, ¿bien?
Sí.
Nos gustan.
Nos gustan, got it.
O posible, nos encantan.
Mhm.
Oh, posible, nos interesan.
Sí.
Nos interesan. Oh, otra posibilidad. Nos fascinan. Nos fascinan.
Fascina.
Nos fascinan. Hay muchas expresiones, ¿sí? Para expresar que hay algo interesante. Nos interesan las plantas, nos fascinan las plantas, nos encantan las plantas, pero hay muchas maneras de expresar, ¿sí? Pero es importante no decir nos gustamos.
Sí.
Nos gustamos means we're pleasing to each other, which we probably are, but
No.
no es lo que quieres decir, but that's not what you mean. So, okay, vale. Excelente. Muy bien. Oh, 3 cosas en común, 3 things. Bueno, Susana, sí, dinos.
Sí, nos encanta el océano.
El océano.
Disfrutamos bebiendo vino.
Yo también, sí.
Sí,
Lo
y,
tengo en común.
sí, ambos sentimos que la familia es muy importante.
Sentimos, we feel.
Sentimos.
Sí, sentimos que lo más importante es la familia. Bien. Sí. También aquí, bueno, sí. Me gusta muchísimo. 3 cosas más en común. 3 things you have in common. ¿Otras ideas? 3 cosas o no? ¿O no? ¿Ok? ¿Sí? Una vez, once, 2 veces, twice, ¿sí? 3 veces. Ok. Pasamos a otra cosa. Bueno, y hablaron aquí, sí, ellos en el video hablaron de nos gusta el español, nos gustan mucho los perros, ¿sí? Nos gusta comer, sí, David en el video es un poquito como mi esposo, sí, se parece mucho a mi esposo. He looks like my husband a lot. No, físicamente no se parece, pero espiritualmente sí, se parece mucho a mi esposo, sí. Le gusta comer, he likes to eat, ¿ok? Y fíjense, I want you to notice these common things that people say, just conversationally, to throw out things. Súper bien, súper bien. That is a super common way that people talk back and forth. Oh, yeah, really good, really good, really good, súper bien, súper bien, súper bien. ¿Sí? Llevas un punto. Oh, she wanted...
Seguiremos casados por mucho tiempo.
Momento. She wanted to award him a point.
Punta.
Llevas un punto literally means you carry a point. But she wanted to say, tú, David, llevas un punto. You get a point. You're carrying away a point from that. Número 1. Okay. Seguiré. Oh, let's see if we can figure this out. You know, casados. Genial. Genial. Great. Genial. Great. Yeah. Seguiremos casados por mucho tiempo entonces. So he's joking here. He has a little sense of humor here. Casados. ¿Qué es casados?
Married.
Married. And then we got seguiremos. Oh, quizás.
Does it mean it follows? Follow?
Seguir. Let's take what is the main verb that thing that is seguiremos comes from. It comes from seguir.
Seguir.
Follow. Continue.
Is to follow, to continue. So what do you think he's saying? He's making a teeny tiny joke, kind of joke.
We've been married for a long time.
He's putting this in future. Well, we'll keep on being married, I guess, for quite some time. But you know, even if you don't know that is formally future tense, continue marriage, meaning, oh, he must be saying I guess we'll stay
Together.
married, we'll stay together for quite, seguiremos. That makes a little more sense now.
Okay.
See? Seguiremos. You know, you may not know that means future, but if you know seguir means to continue, to keep on, to follow. Well, it doesn't mean follow in this sense, but it does mean keep on. We'll keep on being married. Oh, I guess we'll stay married. We'd probably say we'll stay married. Yeah. Okay.
That's where I got confused.
Bien. Okay. A ver. Es interesante porque a veces I'll let her say it.
Muy bien, la pregunta para ti es, ¿cómo sería un día perfecto para mí?
¿Cómo sería? What, and that comes from ser. And sería, instead of being, he's not saying ¿cómo es un día perfecto? That's what would a perfect day be like? It still uses ser to be. What would it? But what would? He's talking in a hypothetical sense. What would a perfect day be like? ¿Cómo sería un día perfecto para mí? Bien. Y va a describir. He's going to describe a little bit, and we'll talk about that.
Es interesante, ¿no? Porque a veces cuando estás con tu pareja, pues hacen cosas que a los dos les gusta.
Oh, that's interesting because sometimes when you're with your partner, your romantic partner, see, you do things that the two of you, that both of you, los dos, that the two of you, that both of you like.
Pero creo que estás preguntando un día perfecto para ti, solo para ti.
But I think you're asking a perfect day just for
You.
Ok, creo que te gustaría.
And this is a useful phrase. Te gustaría, you would like, hypothetically. So I can say te gusta. That gets across the same idea, but te gustaría just turns it nuances it into you would like. Okay. Te gustaría
que no hubiera presiones de despertar temprano.
You would like that there were no pressures, no hubiera presiones. So you'll have to tweak that into something simpler. Hubiera is like a past subjunctive. You would like if there were no pressures, and she's using hypothetical. So you can and don't take it the wrong way, dummy it down. No, so you can simplify it into words you can use. This ties into that circumlocution idea that first video showed us. Break down things into a simpler form when you want to say it, because that's what you need to do. So you don't know how to say no hubiera presiones, but you'll know how to say there is no pressure. No hay presiones. No hay presiones. You can say that. Okay.
Que pudieras despertar cuando fuera.
You could wake up whenever.
Sería que hubiera carne en algún momento, es decir.
There'd have to be meat coming into this at some part of the day. He's a big meat eater. This guy, if you watch enough of the videos, he talks about food a lot. Okay.
Decir que tú cocinaras carne o que compraras carne, pero comer carne.
So his perfect day would have to involve doing what?
Eating.
Cooking or buying or
or
eating meat. Yeah. Okay. Big meat eater.
Habría mucha música también.
And you would use hay mucha música. ¿Qué es hay mucha música?
There's a lot of music.
There's a lot of music. So she's turning it into, she's taking hay, which comes from the verb haber, and she's turning it into hypothetical. There would be. there would be, habría mucha música también. So now you can not worry about making these fancy tenses, but just talk about what a perfect day would include for you. Un día perfecto es, un día perfecto includes. Bien. Okay, I'll let her finish and then we're going to play with this a little.
Seguramente pondrías música o
Oh, pondrías. This is a hard one. This comes from poner and it's a very irregular. So poner música would be to
Play music?
play music because he would put it on a CD, put on his podcasts, right? Put on his live streaming, whatever he uses. Pondrías música. So you would simplify it and say pones música. You put on music. Do you see what we're doing here?
Mhm.
Distill it to the verb you know how to use. And use that. And don't worry about mucking around with a lot of tenses. But for listening, you can suss out the basic idea. And we'll let him finish his idea.
estarías tocando y cantando un poco con la guitarra.
Oh, cantando, tocando,
Sing a little.
y tocando.
sing.
Yeah, playing and singing along.
Ujú.
Y también habría muchos videos de coches o de cosas relacionadas a sonido o video.
Ah, bien. Es gran aficionado a los coches. He likes to tinker around with motors a lot, with engines. Okay, so she's saying, habría muchos videos de coches. You'd have like lots of car videos. Yeah. Sound of music. He's the tech guy of the two of them. He does all the tech stuff. Sonido. Sí. Video. Okay. Vale. Bueno, okay. Un día perfecto para tu pareja. A perfect day for your spouse. Voy a hablar de mi pareja, de mi esposo. Un día perfecto. And I'm going to distill it down to things that are just present, not using fancy tenses. Un día perfecto incluye un desayuno con tocino y huevos, bacon and eggs, tocino y huevos en su dieta a keto, bien, sí. Un día perfecto sería un desayuno de tocino y huevos. Un día perfecto incluye caminar en el desierto, en las montañas, subir. Un día perfecto incluye subir una montaña en el desierto, un sendero muy difícil, a really hard trail, un sendero muy difícil. Y un día perfecto incluye tomar fotos del paisaje, de las montañas y de los animales en el desierto, en las montañas. Bien. Y otra vez regresar a casa a comer mucha carne, comer mucho queso, comer muchos huevos y quizás nueces and maybe some nuts. Bien, ok. Vale. El día perfecto para su pareja. The perfect day for your spouse. ¿Alguna idea? Some idea.
Para
Sí,
mí,
Catalina.
para mi esposo, un día perfecto es jugar golf y ver Michigan vencer Ohio State.
Fútbol americano, ¿verdad?
Bebe cerveza.
Y beber, sí, y beber cerveza un poquito, sí. Vencer, win, sí. ganar al otro equipo, ¿sí? La importancia de Michigan, ¿sí? En ganar contra Ohio State, ¿sí? Es muy importante. Es muy
Sí,
importante.
Sí,
Para
sí,
la
claro.
gente sí, como nativa de Michigan, es muy importante.
También.
Es sumamente importante ganar a Ohio State siempre en el fútbol americano, en el básquetbol, en el béisbol, lo que sea.
En todo, en todo.
En todo, en fin, en todo. En fin, en todo. Bien. Ok, perder a Ohio State es lo peor. Es lo peor. Es un pecado. It is a sin. Es un pecado. Es el peor pecado del mundo. It's the worst sin in the world. Ok, vale. Otra cosa. Sí. El día perfecto. El día perfecto. Algo. Sí, Karen, ¿quieres?
Para mi esposo, un día perfecto es una clase de Tai Chi y hacer una pintura o hacer carpintería.
Es carpintero.
Ah,
Un poquito. Le gusta. Le gusta jugar un poquito.
Sí.
Bien. Carpintero. Es carpintero. Eso es fascinante. Ok. Vale. Un día perfecto. A perfect day. ¿Alguien más? ¿Alguien más? ¿Alguien más? Bien. Bueno, Pat.
Un día para mi esposo estaría en el desierto haciendo trabajo. And this is, I wasn't sure what to do, so I looked it up. It said de sendero. He would
De
be happy
sendero.
doing trail work.
Trail work.
Trail work.
Haciendo trabajo en el sendero. En el sendero. En el sendero. Doing work on the trail. Sí, su esposo es fantástico en el sendero, ¿sí? Dirige a los obreros o los que trabajan para mantener. Su esposo trabaja en mantener los senderos como en las montañas, en los senderos, aquí, ¿sí? Sonoran Conservancy, ¿bien? Sí. Es trabajo muy importante. Ok, vale. Otra cosa. Bueno, Susana primero y entonces Jen, ¿no?
I was just going to ask a question about what you just said. Los senderos, is that one word? Or is that
Sí,
words?
los senderos. Senderos son trails.
Okay.
El sendero es a trail. El sendero.
Gracias.
En la naturaleza, ¿bien? ¿Sí? No es un sidewalk, no. Un sendero está en el desierto, en la montaña, en los bosques, in the woods, in the mountains, in the desert. Sí, es natural.
Sí, thank you.
Vale, bien. Ok, bueno, Jen, ¿tienes algo?
Okay. Un día perfecta.
Día
Federico.
perfecto. Un día perfecto.
Perfecto. Oh, oops. Can't earn my own right.
El día perfecto. Un día perfecto. Bien, continúa.
Un día perfecto, Federico. Tú vas a la tienda Home Depot con tu amigo Jorge para todo el día. Ustedes ven todo en la tienda. Todos los empleados dicen, hola, Federico. Hola, Jorge. Sí.
Todos lo conocen. Everybody knows him. Todos lo conocen.
Sí.
Son amigos personales.
How would you say, even with a mask on?
Aún con tapabocas, aún con mascarilla.
Aún con mascarilla. Hola, Federico.
Lo conocen. They know him. Lo conocen con la boca cubierta, sí. Todavía, sí, aún lo conocen, ¿ok? Bien. Excelente. Bueno, sí, a mi esposo le gusta mucho hacer lo mismo. Vamos a ver un momento. ¿Cómo se dice? Spend a lot of time at Home Depot.
Pasar el tiempo.
Pasar
Federico
mucho tiempo.
pasa mucho tiempo en Home Depot. Federico pasa mucho tiempo en Home Depot. Sí, eso. Ahora ven, now you see, sí, vamos a incluir, sí, este vocabulario. Bueno, me gusta muchísimo. Otra cosa, un día perfecto. Un día perfecto. Y fíjense, sí, es un día perfecto. Sí, porque sí, día, pero es perfecto. ¿Otra idea o no? Federico, perdón.
So again, I took a lot of risks on this one.
Está bien.
I'm pretending that she asked me the question, and so I'm replying to her.
Okay.
So how close am I by saying, tú puedes andar para las mías y mías? In other words, that you could walk for miles and miles. So how close am I?
Puedes andar por millas y millas. You can walk for miles and miles.
Por.
So the only thing I blew was por versus para.
Sí.
Boy, and I've got notes from last time, waiting for several times, por versus para, but that doesn't always get through to me.
Por y para es algo difícil. You need to get a feel for por millas y millas. Por is used for a duration of time. And even though it's not a duration of time to say millas, you're still measuring.
No.
Yeah, so por millas y millas. Sí. Bien. Ok. Bueno. Excelente. Otra idea de un día perfecto. ¿Algo más? Catalina, sí.
Para mi hija, un día perfecto sería un día a una playa.
Sounds nice. I agree.
Pasar un rato en la playa.
De acuerdo.
Es ideal. De acuerdo, sí. Es ideal para muchas personas. For many people. En su opinión, es para. En su opinión, es para. ¿Sí? Para muchas personas, para mucha gente. Un día ideal es pasar un rato en la playa. ¿Sí? Bien. Ok.
Una pregunta.
Sí, sí.
Is it before you go further? I had a question up at 427. It's because I thought it was David was, no, maybe it's later when I was watching it. He talked something about burrows. Oh, it's right. I'm sorry. Go down. It's actually a little further down. David, on the first question, it says, así es, amigos, en un recuerdo muy borroso.
Oh, borroso. Okay, okay. Bien.
Tú.
Okay. Fíjese. Okay, notice this.
Obviamente fuiste tú, no
obviously it was you. They were talking about who kissed who, okay?
puedes negarlo.
I think it takes two people to kiss, so really, okay, but there we go. Okay. Es mi opinión, para mí, ¿sí?
Así es, amigos. Es un recuerdo muy borroso.
Es un recuerdo muy borroso. Borrar. Si tengo no una pluma, sino un lápiz. Imagine this is a pencil, ¿sí? Que es un lápiz, ¿sí? No es pluma, es un lápiz, ¿entienden? Borrar es...
Erase.
Perfecto. Entonces, un recuerdo, una memoria, Un recuerdo es una memoria. Un recuerdo muy borroso. That is their way of saying fuzzy. It's kind of wiped out.
Okay.
Kind of wiped out. Es un recuerdo muy borroso. It's a fuzzy. It's a fuzzy remembrance. A fuzzy. So in other words, he doesn't have a really sharp, clear.
Okay. Gracias.
Yeah, memory of that. Okay. Vale. I'm going to skip through part of that. They're talking about a first kiss. Oh, but now he says.
¿Quién habrá sido el primero? Y a ver, ya que estamos en estos temas escabrosos.
Now we're in these thorny, sticky topics. Tema is a theme or a subject or a topic. Tema literally is theme. But when somebody talks about un tema, they mean a subject, a topic. Escabrosos, these kind of thorny, troublesome topics. And now she's going to playfully respond.
Tengo miedo.
I'm scared.
¿Por qué motivo peleamos más veces?
¿Por qué motivo? And that looks like the English word.
Motive.
Motive. And it does kind of mean that, but we would be more likely to phrase this as for what reason? Is a reason a motive?
Sure.
Kind of, yeah. So motivo is most frequently translated as a reason. ¿Por qué motivo? And why is it por qué motivo? On account of what? Because you're asking for you're asking for the why of it. ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué motivo? For what reason? On account of. The por means on account of, because of. ¿Por qué motivo? For what reason do we peleamos? ¿Sí? ¿Por qué motivo peleamos? Más veces, ¿sí?
Argue, right?
¿Sí? And now she comes up with this quemarse thing again. Notice.
No, tú quieres quemarme, ¿verdad?
You want to expose me, meaning you're going to uncover what my fault is. ¿Entienden quemarse? Do you understand quemarse? ¿Sí? ¿Entienden? Okay.
Marilyn, could you use razón?
You could use razón. Razón is most frequently in conversation used to say something like, tienes razón, you are right. Or no tienes razón, you're not right.
I see.
But the reason for doing this, el motivo de hacer, the reason for doing this, most people use motivo. Mi motivo, por ejemplo, ¿ok? Por ejemplo, mi motivo, momento. Ahorita vengo. I'm coming back right away. Ahorita vengo. Okay. Bueno, por ejemplo, mi motivo de guardar. Mi motivo de guardar esta caja vieja, ¿sí? Mi motivo de guardar, keeping, de guardar esta caja es para empacar un regalo de Navidad.
Oh, okay.
¿Entienden? Mi motivo, ¿sí? Mi motivo es, ¿sí? And people would generally not express that idea as mi razón. Razón, if you look it up, does tell you reason. But we use razón usually to say somebody is right or somebody is not right. Tengo razón, tú no tienes razón. Así. Pero mi motivo, ¿sí? Mi motivo es my motive, my reason, my purpose for doing this. ¿Entiendes?
What about causar?
Ah, la causa. Bien, bien. Causar. So let's think of some circumlocutions. Let's say you can't think of motivo, ¿sí? La causa. The cause, sí, se puede usar. We can use that as a circumlocution. But you know, it's very, very easy to get used to this idea of el motivo as my reason. Sí, mi motivo es hablar con él. My reason is to talk to him. Como así. Fácil, ¿ok? Bien. Motivo es es buena palabra, es muy buena palabra para guardar, to keep, ¿sí? En el bolsillo. This is a good word to keep in your pocket. Motivo es a reason, meaning a purpose, right? For doing something. Okay.
Una pregunta.
Sí, dime.
Do you only use quemarse for, like, how would you describe it? Bad things? You don't use it to ever describe nice things, right? It's more like embarrassing or bad things.
Yeah, it'll be, yes.
Okay.
It
You
will
wouldn't
be
say they look
uncovering your foibles.
Okay.
Your
Okay, just
foibles. Yeah. Sí, así es.
Okay.
You know, teenagers who say, burn you. Yeah. It is like that. It's exactly like that. But they literally use that word burn. Yeah. I remember they're younger folks, but people will use that. See? Okay. And I'm going to let her go a little bit.
Estoy hablando de los dos.
Creo que las veces que discutimos o que peleamos es por un malentendido.
I think the times that we argue. Yeah, and here she means argue, right? Discutir es argue, ¿sí? Or that we fight, peleamos, es por un malentendido. Por un, an account of. Por indicates because of. One of the many meanings of por. Lo siento, Pedrico. Here's one of the many meanings of por, which doesn't mean for, is because of, on account of. Peleamos por un malentendido. We fight on account of a misunderstanding. See, or we would say because of a misunderstanding. And we look up the word because and it says porque, because, porque. But when you want to say because of something, it's not porque, it's just por and the thing. See, on account of this thing, por un malentendido. And we're going to let him go a little bit further. And now he's going to use a very irregular verb, dijiste. Anybody remember that verb? It's very, es muy común. Dijiste comes from what? What does that come from? Muy irregular.
Decir.
It comes from decir. This one is a hard one to figure out, but dijiste is a past form of decir. So it's going to mean you said. Dijiste, you said.
Porque tú dijiste algo que
Porque tú dijiste algo, because you said something.
Yo malinterpreté.
That I
misinterpreted.
O porque tal vez uno de los dos asume que la otra persona va a hacer algo o a decir algo y esa persona no lo hace.
Or one or the two of you assume that the other person is going to do something, va a hacer algo o decir algo y esa persona no lo hace. Muy normal.
Sí.
Pero nunca hubo una comunicación clara.
But there was never that, but a really clear statement of fact never happened. Didn't happen. No hubo, it didn't happen. en el pasado, ¿sí?
Yo creo que ese es nuestro problema.
Un problema de comunicación, dirías,
Sí,
entonces.
a pesar de que estamos juntos 24 horas al día, siempre hay algo que mejorar en la comunicación. No sé.
A pesar de que, despite us being together 24 hours a day, there's always something to do to improve communication, okay?
¿Ustedes qué piensan? ¿La mayoría de las parejas pelean por malos entendidos o por falta de compatibilidad o cuál es el punto?
Qué buena pregunta. La mayoría de las parejas pelean por malos entendidos. Most couples fight for misunderstandings o por falta de compatibilidad. Or falta, lack. Remember, hace falta from last week? Right, lack of compatibility. ¿Qué creen ustedes? What do you guys think? ¿Qué opinan? ¿Qué opinan? What's your opinion? ¿Falta de compatibilidad o un malentendido?
Un malentendido.
¿Un malentendido? Yo creo con los jóvenes de 20 años, de 18 años, de 22 años, a veces hay falta de compatibilidad. A veces. Porque son jóvenes. Pero estoy de acuerdo. La mayoría en una pareja es un malentendido. ¿Sí? ¿Sí?
Sí.
¿Qué opinan ustedes? ¿Sí? ¿Lo mismo de acuerdo o no de acuerdo? No están de acuerdo. Depende de la pareja, ¿no?
Sí.
Depende de la pareja. A veces es falta de compatibilidad, otras veces no. Ok. Bien. Wow, we did not get anywhere near through all of these questions. We're going to, vamos a continuar. I'm seeing that we've only got a couple of minutes. Nos quedan unos minutos. Lo que vamos a hacer, what we're going to do, lo que vamos a hacer es momentito. We're going to continue going through some of these questions. So here are the ones that I want you to make sure you prep for next week. See, bring in your little, bueno, tragan sus objetos. Bring your objects here. See, bring your object. We'll do that first. No tiene nada que ver con el video. This has nothing to do with the video. See, tragan un objeto muy fácil, un objeto cotidiano, a daily object. Okay, but we're going to go through some of these questions of. We're going to skip a few of them, but keep some of them. ¿Por qué motivo peleamos más veces? What kind of thing do we sometimes fight about? You may want to, well, maybe you don't want to talk about that, but if we have something interesting, we can do that. Usually they're little silly things, right? I'm going to explain what this one question means. ¿Qué cosa dirías? What thing would you say que me gusta hacer a mí, that I like to do, que a la mayoría de la gente no le gusta? What does your partner like to do that nobody else likes to do? That's what that's asking. What does your partner like doing that most people would say, a mí no me gusta? See? I want you to definitely prep that question. ¿Dónde fue la primera cita? Where was your first date? That doesn't cause arguments. No causa no causa dificultad. Okay. Si hay un incendio que salvaría, if there were a fire, if there's a fire, what would you save? ¿Qué salvaría? Salvar is to save, but not like to save money or not even to save like I'm saving this box so I can ship stuff. Salvar is to literally save something from being destroyed, damaged, hurt. Okay, to literally save something from danger. Okay, de peligro, from danger. So focus on that. And qué dirías que somos opuestos? In what ways are we opposite? And I'll detail these in the email so that you know exactly what to come back ready to talk about. You may or may not want to talk about what habit is hard for you to handle with your spouse. I could talk about that because he won't hear me. Or this is the golden question that I really, really, really like. Si pudieras elegir algo mío y tirarlo a la basura, ¿qué sería? If you could take something of your spouse and throw it. Marlena, sí, te gusta. If you could take something of your spouse's and throw it in the trash, what would it be? ¿Qué sería? What would it be? Okay, bien. So I will bullet those to prep for next week. También, also, I want you to make sure you kind of, you may want to review some certain things and say, here's something I didn't understand what we were doing or what they were saying in the video. I'm going to give you a very short vlog. I don't know if I gave you this last year. Did I give you this one about velitas last year? Because it is a year old. This is kind of a fun one. It's like a runner-up holiday to Christmas. In Colombia, this is just in Colombia. So this will be your listening exercise. You may want to review something from this old video, but watch this. This will be easier for you to follow along. And this is just a cultural thing, so it's kind of fun. But she explains what velitas, and velitas means little candles. Little candles. Una vela es un candle. Okay? There's velitas. And actually, I think velitas is either today or tomorrow or mañana. It starts around this time of year in Colombia. It is a special day. She's going to explain what Dia de Velitas is. And then she's going to have some fun Christmas vocabulary. See? 15 frases para usar. And we use para, not por. 15 phrases or sentences to use, para usar, to use at Christmas time. Es un tema. That's all a theme. So we're going to kind of finish up with our relationship thing and look at some Christmas things. I'm also going to give you 2 videos. One is of songs, música. Sí, habrá 2 videos cortos, muy cortos. Un video 3 minutos nada más. Es música. Es una canción de Navidad. There's a special word for canción de Navidad. It's called villancico. Un villancico means a Christmas carol. Un villancico.
Can you put that in the chat?
Sí. Sí, I can stop my share and I will put it on it. Un villancico. Un villancico. That means a Christmas carol. So you're going to get one video that will be a very traditional Christmas carol. Campana sobre campana. Campana es bell. Bell that you ring. Campana sobre campana. Bells over bells over bells. Bells, so literally it talks about lots of bells. Campana sobre campana. And it's a very traditional Christmas holiday song, but the other one will not be traditional, nor will it have anything to do with Christmas. Un momentito, ¿cuál es el título? It is going to be somebody you listened to last week. It is going to be our... Uy, ¿dónde está? ¿Dónde está? Momentito. Aquí está. Aquí está, sí. No lo es, perdón. Perdón. It's got burbujas in the title. Amor y burbujas. Bubbles in love. You'll like it. See, aquí. No. Ay, ¿dónde está? Well, I have kind of lost it, but I will. Oh. Burbujas de amor. Aquí está. Here it is. Burbujas de. You gotta love it because the title is so cute. Burbujas de amor. Bubbles of love. Love bubbles. It's so cute. It's so cute. You just have to love it. No tiene nada que ver con la Navidad. This has nothing to do with Christmas. It's a little love song, but it's cute. It's related to the ocean. And if I could be a fish, Oh, it's so cute. You're going to love it. Okay. Les va a encantar. Les va a encantar. You're going to love it. Okay. Burbujas de amor. So, and it tiene letra. It's got all the it's got the subtitles on, so you'll see the words. Don't try to translate the song literally, because a lot of it won't make sense if you do that, right? Music is songs. I shouldn't say music. Songs are poems put to words, and poems just create feelings and create images in your head. Yeah. So when he talks about burbujas de amor, he's talking about bubbles, and he's going to compare himself to, yes, a fishy in the ocean. Okay, ¿está bien? Sí. Okay, eso es todo. So bring your little object for your homework, and I'll bullet the other little items from the video. You may want to listen to Davidiana una vez más. You may want to note certain things where you say, I don't know what this phrase meant, and bring that up as specific questions, and bring that up for next week. Sí, eso es todo. That it?
Sí.